I swear, every week it's a new challenge. Wall Street rewards Apple for a down quarter. Services revenue is higher, and Apple hasn't even rolled most of them out yet. And Huawei wants to be the number one seller of cheap smartphones. All tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go! Yes. It is the Mac to the Future Go livecast, or the Mac to the Future livecast Go. I can never make up my mind quite how that works. I am your humble host, Guy Serle, and as usual, I have two wonderful people with me tonight. And we're going to start, I think, this week with Warren. Hello there, Warren. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You're still live in Guatemala. We need to change that. You need to move out of Guatemala.
For all you know,
what it is.
I might be going back, and we'll just leave it until that happens.
Okay. Well, I don't want to burst your Guatemala bubble. Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
That sounds like something I have for breakfast.
It's like burritos, but it's Guatemalish.
I had the Guatemalan bubble.
Dave, how are you, sir?
Oh, how's it going? Hey.
Did I surprise you? I bet I did. So you baked a cake. I'm doing well. You got all your lights up. I can tell.
Yes, I do.
You got your lights working. I have actually ordered some lights. I don't know if I'll be able to make them work in this room, but they're more along the lines of for like shooting video as compared to doing like a live cast. Oh, it's spooky. It's like Vincent Price is right here in this podcast. And now I have, hold on just a second here. Uh-oh. We lost everything.
No,
everything.
It's all dark.
It is. It's my son, Guy.
Did he turn off the light?
Hello, Guy. Hey, I cannot pick you up. I am doing the live cast as we speak. You're gonna have to walk home.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you want to say hi to Dave and Warren? Yeah, he says hi.
How you doing, Guy?
Yeah, hi everybody.
Sorry, you have to walk.
Wait, hold on. Warren should go and do what?
I told him he had to go walk.
I can't believe he said that.
Wait, doesn't your son drive?
No, he does not. Actually,
isn't your son? Isn't he like 40 years old?
No. He's 24.
Okay.
He's not a fan. He's not a fan of driving. Well, the last time he drove, may not have been the very last time, but pretty close to the last time he drove, he wrecked my wife's car. So right into a fire hydrant. But yeah, it jumped out in front of him, so he didn't really have any choice in the matter.
Now he has to walk. So there you go.
Well, I normally, right around this time he'll call and I'll go and get him. He's only like 5 minutes from here. But I told him that last night was going to be a problem because last night is bowling night with the guys from work.
Hey, let's do some bowling.
Let's do some bowling, man. And then tonight, of course, is the live cast, so I can't do it.
Got 2 feet.
That's a stationary guy you have there.
It is. I don't think we have. Is there anyone chatting? No, not at the moment. No one's chatting in the room.
Yeah. We got.
I have comments live.
We got 3 people.
Right.
4 now.
But
and 3 of them are us.
They're totally cool people. Yeah, I can tell right now. All right. Well, we're not going to wait. We're not going to wait on our audience. We are fudging forward. Not fudging. What's the word I'm looking for? Not moving. Forging. We're forging ahead. Hello,
Derek
Derek.
is
How are
watching.
you, sir? Chat, chat, chat.
Chat, chat.
Chit, chit,
Derek.
chat. All right.
Derek
Well,
and Cho. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew this,
You would probably do.
but last week was Apple's financial quarter for the fiscal year Q2, first quarter for 2019 if you go by calendar year. And in an odd kind of reversal, Apple stock that always seems to take a beating after surpassing analysts' expectations in revenue. So it only makes sense that in a quarter where the company did worse than the same quarter last year, the stock would rise. Yeah.
It's
So,
$10.
yeah. Real quick, this is the basics for what was announced. The fiscal quarter, second quarter revenue, $57.5 billion. The same period last year, they had 61.1. Q2 iPhone sales, $30.5 billion. They recorded $38 billion last year over year. Q2 services did rise from $9.2 billion year over year to $11.2 billion this year. And their earnings per share, EPS, went from $2.37 from $2.73 last year. So fiscal third quarter revenue, I don't even know what this means. Fiscal third quarter revenue, which we're just getting into, I guess last year was $53.3 billion, and Apple is projecting, there I figured it out, they're projecting $52.2 billion, so a drop of $1.1 billion. So yeah, their stuff was down for the most part, and the stock rose.
Right.
So how does that work?
Services. The analysts saw a slight increase of profitability in the services, and they said,
right,
okay, well, that's going in the right direction, and that's what they're focusing on. So let's go with that. So
I'm sorry. It just, for the most part, especially considering that Apple has what, 3 or 4 new services that are coming out this year, none of which are proven, none of which, right now they're basically money pits. Nobody, Apple doesn't know how much they're going to make off any of this new stuff they got coming up. And they're kind of behind the curve as far as streaming services for video, as well as for audiobooks and the newspapers and magazines and all the rest of that.
And audio.
Well, audio, it depends how far back you go. If you want to look at iTunes, that was one of the biggest things ever as far as streaming audio goes.
Spotify is beating Apple. Spotify is beating Apple now. So
yeah, but they're beating them in subscribers, but not in revenue.
Yeah, worldwide. Yeah, the worldwide numbers was what it was.
Yeah. Subscribers is revenue. I mean,
No. Most of the people that use Spotify are on the free service.
No. The Spotify has more paid. It's just announced that Spotify has more paid subscribers than Apple Music.
Okay, well, I'd have to see that because pretty much.
No, he's right. He's right.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I'll look.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, let's get that smug look off your face. Look, go ahead. Look more smug.
But I think the analysts were shown the services that they already have in operation.
Right.
And those are going up. So there was no, obviously, revenue numbers for the services aren't out yet. Plus, I don't think it included the news service either because that's
they haven't. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah. There's nothing there yet.
No, it's out. I'm paying $10.
Are you talking about news? Right, are you talking about news? Or are you talking about like the Apple TV service and?
The only thing that's not out right now is
games.
The Apple TV and games. So 2 things aren't out right now.
Well, that's like what 3 of the 2 out of the 3 big things they announced that they're. The only thing that's out right now that they talked about at the last event is News Plus. So games aren't out yet. Apple Arcade, that's not out yet.
Right.
And
but that's not
neither
included
is
in the numbers.
Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, but neither. So those 2 things weren't included in the numbers that they provided. there's
No, I understand that, but there's without a firm basis on what kind of revenue stream we're talking about from these services. I don't think Wall Street should be including those in their projections as far as Apple's revenue for the next quarter or next two quarters, I guess.
I had no indication that they were. The
Well,
indication I saw was they saw growth in their
they
current
saw
services.
they saw growth in their existing services.
Yeah.
But we have no idea, number one, if that's sustainable, because you can lose mega amounts of subscribers at the drop of a hat with the wrong kind of move. If Apple's if Apple has some downtime, and it has happened to Apple in the past, people could see it as not being reliable. But I mean, regardless,
that's true with anything in the world. I mean, that's true with anybody.
It's not true with the Mac to the Future Go livecast.
No, of course
not. Here we
are.
are.
But it's true with hardware. It's true with everything. So, it's yeah. I mean,
well,
I was thinking about this today because when they announced numbers, I subscribe personally to Apple Music, iCloud, now the Apple News, the family sharing with Apple Music. I think everything. I have Apple Care and stuff. I pretty much subscribe to everything that Apple provides right now as a service, and it adds up. With 30, 40, I pay about $35, $40 a month for all that.
Well, I'm basic. I've got Apple Music. I'm on the single plan because I originally was on the family plan, and I sent invitations to my wife and my kids, and those invitations just sat there. And it was like, I'm not going to spend the extra $5 a month if you guys aren't going to take advantage of it. So it's like, okay, go get your own streaming services. That'll show you. Yeah. So that's $10. I haven't subscribed to news because I don't see the value in it for myself. I do have the increased storage plan in relation to iCloud to the 2 terabyte. 1 terabyte. Thank you, Dave. The 1 terabyte plan, which I think is another $10, or is that 20?
Yeah, it's 20, I think.
20? Okay. Well, hooray. So I'm into Apple for like around $40 too. What about you, Dave? How much are you in hock to Apple too?
Yeah, I'm News Plus. I let that go, $10, and you got Apple Music, paying for that every year. That's $100 a year, and then I got the iCloud. I got the 200 meg plan. I'm good with that. So that's another $3 a month for that. So, and all the Apple Care that I have on all my devices. So yeah, they're getting a good share of my money.
Are you happy about that?
No,
are you okay with that?
I love my product. I love my Apple stuff.
Okay.
I hate
what's this? Adam says Apple has a near monopoly on some categories of subscription services that don't mine data from users. Well, that's true. That's true. That is
not Facebook and not Google.
Oh, certainly not. Well, you guys have heard about the new. Once again, the new rollout of some of the Facebook services. At this point, does anyone? Well, I mean, just real quick, do either one of you trust Facebook at this point?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Do I trust anything at this point?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Well, I trust Apple with my data.
You do until something happens, which eventually will. So
probably.
Listen, when something leaves and goes out onto the internet, no matter whose service you're using, don't trust anybody if you really care about it. If you care about it,
that's true. But it's also a question of how is it by design? Facebook and a lot of the Google services by design are meant to capture as much data as they can on their users.
It's saving Dave and I $40 a month. For something. So I mean, that's the trade-off, and that's at least they tell you. Facebook had some issues because some of the data that wasn't supposed to go to some places went out, and they're trying to fix it. And but you talk about our data, and it's like, what are you talking about? You're talking about our name, maybe our date of birth. I mean, what am I putting out there that I'm not concerned of? Like marketing companies have it. What are you concerned about in marketing? Let's pretend Facebook had a crazy breach of all the data that you have on Facebook and everything.
Well,
What we're concerned
I
about.
don't think that the three of us are really a good judge on that because we put ourselves out there every day in various ways. But there's a lot of people who don't, who
So
aren't
what would
podcasters
what would
or
they be? What would
writers
they
or
be?
whatever.
Yeah. What's concerning? But
Well,
finance.
what it is they're buying, where it is they're going. Because if you're using either Google Maps or Waze, AT&T and most of the big cell companies are mining
Right.
that data for where you are and where
They're
your car is and
right.
how fast you're going. Uh,
They're
and
targeting your ads. So does that bother you?
of course it
They're
bothers me.
target.
It bothers me
Really?
that Google knows that I'm hauling ass down the interstate when I'm using Waze because I don't want to get caught by the cops speeding. It's just regardless. It's just
Their app does it the reverse. It's actually the cops
yeah.
don't like it because it tells them where they are. I mean, they have to know that to know where you are and to know where people are going fast and slow to give you your time of estimate
Well,
time.
you would think that with all the publicity of Waze and some of the other applications that mark where the cops are, that they would have their smartphones on in their car, and when it comes up and says, "Oh, there's a cop right here," they can say, "No, there isn't." Just keep
I'm
hitting
sure
the
they do.
button that says that no, we're not here. We're not here. No. Come on, you bring it. Just haul ass. All right, you guys ready to move on to the next one here? Except it's not really so much the next one. Apple's services are well served. This is from the Next Web. And I forgot to do this. Boop. Everyone is making a big deal about increased revenue for Apple services, but the vast majority of them haven't been tested yet with the public. So we kind of already hit on this, but have either one of you, other than what they announced at their last event, seen anything else from Apple on how their Apple TV Plus service is going to work, how the user interface is going to go, or content, local content, or anything along those lines? What have you heard anything about this, Dave?
I froze. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
As far as any TV content, no, I really haven't heard anything beyond that. So it's hard to say where that's going to go.
How do you do that without moving your lips?
No, it's pretty talented.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like ventriloquism.
If you reload the page, Dave, you'll come right back in. So I don't know if that's it.
Yeah, go ahead. Now let me bounce back in and out here.
All right. What about you, Warren?
No, I'm on the betas, so I kind of see a little bit of the redesign of the app. There was the news today is HBO is now part of the Apple TV app, so it's actually integrated.
Well, it's an added. Well, by integrated, is it an added cost service into Apple TV, or is it going to be just part of it?
No, it's an added cost service like Amazon is. So like if you go to the Apple TV app right now and type in Game of Thrones and you have HBO linked, you'll get Game of Thrones for free because you pay for HBO if you pay for HBO.
Right.
So same with Amazon and a lot of them are trying to do that, except Netflix isn't doing it because they don't want to. But
why would they at this point?
Why would they? It's just another because it's another way for them to. They're not losing money. HBO doesn't lose money.
No,
and Amazon doesn't. It's just another way for people. Why would they want to? Because there might be people like some people out in this group or us that say, "I am only using the Apple TV app. I don't want to switch apps to Netflix, and now I got an Apple TV and blah blah blah, and I don't want to switch out." Netflix was like, well, we don't want to lose you as a subscriber, so okay, you can stay in that stupid TV app, which is basically just a hook, into another app, basically that brings the content over and hooks them in. That's why.
All right.
Adam, I think it's from what I read, it's not the HBO. The HBO has two tiers. They have an HBO Go and Now. Go, I think, is if you pay for HBO cable, you get that included. HBO Now is sort of like you pay extra,
like
to
a
pretty much
mobile HBO service.
It's a mobile HBO
you just pay
service.
for it separately.
You pay for it separately, but you could pick more content from the HBO library at any time. It's basically
Well, does HBO Now allow you to have like content from HBO without it actually being on the air at that particular time or being transmitted at that particular time?
Do not know, because I'm assuming.
I'm not sure.
I'm assuming the one that you have to pay for will include everything that you get with HBO, and it's for people who can't have access to HBO. Maybe, I don't know, but they have two out there. Like the CBS app that you hate.
Yeah.
They only have. I think they also have two as well. Don't they have a CBS? They have a CBS All Access, which you have to pay for.
Yeah. Right.
And I think there's just a CBS app which gives you like some basic CBS
it depends on what kind of Apple TV you're looking at it on. If I go to the CBS app on my 3rd gen Apple TV, which was either the first or the second black brick, I don't see CBS All Access as an app. It just takes me to CBS and then I sign into All Access from there. If I look at it on my Apple TV 4, then I have CBS, I have CBS Sports, and then I also have CBS All Access that I can choose from. And it's the same thing with a lot of the other networks, where the Apple TV 4, because you can pick and select applications for it, you can pretty much have all of the different apps. And most of the content providers are more than willing to make all kinds of different apps. They don't care as long as you're still watching whatever it is that they're doing.
Right. So
honestly, the one so far that has impressed me the most as far as the US centric networks has been the Fox app. Honestly, it provides all the latest episodes. And this is with advertising, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what free applications should be for video content. If you're not paying for it, they give you ads. Totally get it. It also offers me the local here in the Washington, D.C. area, the local Fox station. Mm-hmm. And I believe it also offers the Baltimore one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I can watch, if I had such a desire to do so, and I just really haven't. But I could watch, whatever happens to be on Fox Live at any given time, or I could go back and watch a few episodes back of the Orville or whatever.
Did you see the last one?
Yes, I did.
That was neat.
It was really, really well done, and I wasn't sure where they were quite going with it. Yeah, well, we could talk about the well, if you remember the episode before there,
right?
They had
in the beginning. I know. So I'm watching it when it first started.
The people that are watching this may not know.
I'm like, am I on the wrong one? Like, I'm like, I backed out. I'm like, what am I watching? This is so crazy. And then it made sense.
Yeah, because since her memory wasn't wiped at the end of the previous episode, and she decided not to have a second date with
Right, I did see the episode.
Ed, the captain of the Orville. Right, I know, but people that are here might not know what we're talking about. So it completely. Oh, it's a great show. It completely changed the history, and Ed wasn't the captain of the Orville to stop the Kalon from blowing everybody up, which they did.
They did.
So it was I thought that was a
spoilers.
Please, if you haven't watched it by now, we're not talking about spoilers for games of friggin' Thrones or Avengers Endgame.
Ed killed Thanos at the end, I believe.
Yeah, he
From
did.
Orville.
I
Yeah,
was
Orville
stunned.
shot Thanos. Yeah, it was snapped his fingers and they all
Yeah.
went away.
And then Thanos turned into dust. It was so weird. It was like the ultimate crossover. But it was weird. I was talking when you were talking to Chuck Joyner earlier. You were doing your Road to Macstock interview.
Yes, I was.
A couple of nights ago, maybe it was last week. I talked to Chuck and I did my Road to Macstock thing. And after we got done, Chuck is like a huge Star Trek fan.
Yep.
And I asked him after we got done, I said, well, you've seen Star Trek Discovery. Do you give it thumbs up or thumbs down? And he was like, 2 big thumbs up. And
I do too.
I don't know. I have watched both seasons of Star Trek Discovery. And
Season
I
2 was
thought
better.
it was. Season 2 was better. Season 1 was a complete hot mess. It was like they couldn't quite figure out what direction the show is. Is it going to be about alternate universes? Is it going to be about the Klingon War? Is it going to be about, God? It's like it just kept bouncing all over the place. My biggest complaint about season 2 was long before he showed up, they were already using the Spock character as a hook to try to get people to watch season 2. And it's like, it probably would have had a greater impact if they hadn't done that. If they had just kind of left it up in the air, we don't really know, is Spock going to be on this episode, or are they even going to have him on? And then boom, he's there. And I thought that would have been a much better hook for the show itself. The fact that they were able to stay on target with pretty much 1 season long story arc was much better. I don't know if I necessarily thought the story arc was worth telling in the way that they told it, but it was certainly an improvement over the previous season.
Agreed.
Orville is still better.
Yeah, I thought Spock died in real life, so I don't know.
No, he did. But there's been several actors that have played his character, including several on some fan films that we don't even want to go down that rat hole.
I only like one Star Trek. I like the one with the whales. That was it. That's my only Star Trek.
That was 4. Star Trek 4.
I know.
4.
Where he went? Computer. Computer.
And he was on a Mac too. He was on a Mac.
Keyboard.
Scotty.
How
quaint. How quaint. Yeah. And the part that cracked me up about that whole we'll just keep going with this. The part
Computer.
The part that cracked me up about that entire sequence was, now he's in front of a Mac and he's got a keyboard and a mouse and he just starts typing random crap on the keyboard, and all these different graphics, apparently for transparent aluminum, shows up on the monitor. And I can't remember the actor's name that was like the local guy for this company, but he was like, "Whoa, what is that?" Yeah, no, he wasn't from Seinfeld.
Sure, he was. He was. He was Kramer, not Kramer. The mailman. Absolutely.
Oh, Newman.
No, he wasn't Newman. He wasn't Newman. No. The guy that was Newman was the same guy that was the hacker guy in Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park movie.
I thought it was the same guy, but maybe you're right.
Where he got eaten by little tiny dinosaurs.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next story.
Yeah, okay, let's go to the next. I don't even. For everyone who's still watching, I would love to say that I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm really not. I'm enjoying this.
Sorry, not sorry.
And we only had retroactive foreshadowing for Star Trek 3.
Spooky. It's spooky.
Okay. All right. Are we spoiling Star Trek 3 for people? A movie that came out in 1982, 83. I can't even remember what year it came out. All right, but we're going to...
Spock died in that one, right?
No, he died. He died at the end of Wrath of Khan.
It's the second one.
Yeah. Khan. Yeah, Let's not talk about how they reproduce that in the new Star Trek movies.
I saw
Anyway,
that. Yeah.
Smartphone.
so bad. The last story we have for tonight, unless we go off on more Star Trek. Oh boy, I almost said a bad word.
Watch it.
Star Trek stuff is Huawei smartphones jump to number 2. Let's see if there we go. And I guess I should hit this button right there. There we go.
Rot.
Samsung's folding phone fiasco could not have come at a worse time for the company, as Huawei is nipping at their heels for the number 1 slot, and probably only lack of access to the U.S. market has kept them off it. Samsung's sales have dropped by over 8%, and formerly number 2 Apple by over 30% year over year. Now, this, honestly, this doesn't really bother me that much, because the vast majority of phones that both Samsung and Huawei are selling is just this cheap crap. It's just throwaway garbage almost. So people are buying these phones and then a year later buying another one because they're only like $100, $120. These are not like high quality, do everything that Android is capable of, even assuming that it's on the latest version of Android. And when you look at how long these phones last or how long these phones don't last, yeah, I'm paying $1,000 or whatever for an iPhone, and I'll never see that back. And the amount of money that somebody else would have spent by buying a new Samsung or Huawei phone year over year over year isn't going to come anywhere close to what I'm spending. But I think I have a much better experience with the iPhone than I would over
100%.
an Android phone that is, as far as the technology in the phone goes, at least a year back, if not longer, than a comparable Apple phone, or even a comparable phone. A comparable phone of higher quality from either one of these companies.
They make expensive devices, and they actually have devices that are more modern than some of the
Sure.
I don't
iPhones.
trust them.
But they're
It's not a matter of trust, but people aren't buying them, not in the mass quantities that they're buying this cheap crap. And Huawei and Samsung, when they talk about sales, which they don't typically do, and and it's the same kind of thing. People are all pissed off because Apple stopped reporting on how many iPhones that they're selling. Well, these other companies have never done it. Never. They talk about revenue, which of course is they kind of have to, but the vast majority of the phones that these people are selling are not their flagship phones. You can look at the numbers and see that it's not their flagship phones. And the other question is, okay, you've sold $40 billion worth of phones. How many phones was that? And how much did you make on each phone? Because if you look at profitability, and if you look at what it takes to maintain the arsenal of stores that Samsung has in conjunction with some of the other carriers, they're not really making that much money on it. It's almost like it's a come on to sell something else, but I'm not really sure what that something else would be. And there certainly is no retention. There's no loyalty with Samsung or Huawei or any of these other phones, because the people that are buying these cheap phones, they'll just turn around and buy the cheap phone from somebody else next time around, if they think that's what they want. What do you think,
America,
like you said at the beginning, it was just a much better experience using an iPhone. Just the OS, the experience, the usage. I wouldn't trust Huawei. However you say it. I mean, I think that just a lot of security issues with them, and the U.S. government hasn't any trust with them. I mean, I just I don't know. I have a problem. I would have a problem buying that phone.
What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, I mean the woman from there was arrested. For
Yeah,
some reason.
in Canada.
In Canada. But we do have a very our point of view is a little skewed from the rest of the world too. So I think
Yeah.
I've been overseas. I've lived in London. I've been in different countries. I've been
Sure.
traveled around, and at the time, I saw just as many Android phones as iPhones.
Well, that's
and
not a real big surprise.
no,
No, Android
but
is bigger out in Europe. And
yeah, Samsung. So I've Hawaii.
Yeah,
Um,
Huawei is that's how I say it.
Huawei.
they actually make.
Shawarmas.
I was the only one that walked into a Microsoft store the other
Potato,
day
potato.
in the mall, and they actually have a.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. You were the only person that walked into a Microsoft store. Was that just while you were there, or was that like all day? And I know that's a cheap shot. I know that's a cheap shot.
I walked around, came back, and still no answer. But anyways, I walked in because I like technology.
Sure.
And Hawaii, they make something called a MateBook. Is their Windows laptop, and this thing looks like it's a MacBook knockoff. And I know a lot of people say that MacBook killer. I'm not saying it's a MacBook killer or anything, but it looks like the new Macs in every way. They get good reviews too, but they're a very shady company in that way. I think they basically are like the Wild West of tech, where they think they could just kind of like copy things and it's gonna make everything better for them. And
well, as long as and this has been a problem. This has been a problem with manufacturing in China since the very beginning. Is the value of intellectual property in China, as far as companies that aren't Chinese, is like next to zero. They honestly don't care, and it's not just the companies. It's the government has their tax. I can't even say the word. Basically, the Chinese government turns a blind eye to intellectual property theft, and it's really a question of why are so many companies, other than for cost, it's like they're cutting their own throats as far as dealing with some of these large manufacturers in China. You can't count on them to secure your intellectual property.
So right now, the left-hand Samsung, let's see, the Fold, they have they're coming out with their foldable phone, which is different. Instead of folding inwards to with the screen, here's a screen that folds inward, it folds out, so the screen comes out on the other side, on the outside. They're going to release it. It's going to be crap, and then they won't be laughing anymore because I don't think they're going to come up with
an even better solution.
No, I mean it looks from the looks of it, it looks a little bit nicer because the Samsung Fold, when it folds in, looks like crap. It looks like this tiny little screen in the front, and it's very thick. So this is going to be a different shape. It's going to be crap, it's going to be hard. So
sorry about all the squeaking. God, I hate this. I have to replace this chair. I hate this chair. My chair is so loud.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's all of our stories.
So, and Adam corrected me. Adam says Huawei.
Huawei.
That's how you say Huawei. I like how
right.
he did that.
Huawei?
He's right.
Huawei.
It's Huawei.
Yeah.
I just call him
What's the Epsilon one?
Huawei, I don't trust them as far as you can throw them.
Yeah, and they're a big company, so you really can't throw them very far. Guys, daily shit. Yeah, the daily drive has kind of fallen by the wayside lately. So sorry about that. I've been busy, man. I've been busy.
We're all busy.
All right. That is going to do it for this evening. We're going to start with Dave. Dave, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do so?
They would do so by going to In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. My fine podcast. You can find that on iTunes, as well as my podcast I do on horse racing, which actually this is the biggest weekend in horse racing. Kentucky Derby is this Saturday, so we're gonna have a big podcast recording tomorrow, actually. And
Yeah,
that's
Warren,
off the
that's
horseracing.com.
Huawei, not Nay.
Huawei.
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 Yeah, I would not bet
Yes.
on a horse that made
yes,
those noises.
Come to Max.
Yes, we're going to get the Mac stock right about now. For people who don't know, we are big supporters of the Mac Stock Conference and Expo, which will be held this year on July 27th. Well, yeah, two of us are here, and here.
I'm still working on permission.
July 27th and 28th, that will be in Woodstock, Illinois at the McHenry County College in the, I cannot say the name of that auditorium, but it's
Crystal
at the
Lake.
Well, no, what is the name of the auditorium? It's got this like impossible name for me to say. It's like Huawei or Huawei. Yeah, the McHenry County College right there in Crystal Lake / Woodstock, Illinois. It has been a fantastic event for the last 4 years, and this year is shaping up to be just more of the same. The greatest thing about this isn't even really the speakers or any of the rest of the stuff that you normally hear about with conferences. It's just that all of these people who love using their Macs and using their iPhones and iOS and Mac devices and all the rest of that, excuse me, all the rest of that, getting together, exchanging ideas, and just having so much fun. It's about the community. And that was something that Mike Potter has been pushing almost since day one of the Mac Stock Conference and Expo. So if you would like to go, I believe they still have an early bird special, or is that done now?
It carried over for I think another week.
Okay. So you can get the early bird price for the Mac Stock Conference and Expo is $179. When that's over, that's going to jump up to $199, and that's for the entire weekend. You can also get single day passes, but honestly, why?
2 days. Gotta do it.
Get the whole thing. However, you don't even have to spend $179 if you don't want to, because you can use the coupon code MyMacGuy or Dave's code, which is
In Touch,
and get an additional $10 off. $10, which would make your final cost $169 for this fantastic event. Go to macstockconferenceandexpo.com for more information, or even really, I think MacStock 2019 will get you there as well. And all of the speaker slots have been announced. Dave, you're on Saturday, right?
I am Saturday. I'm actually the second one coming up. After
Nice.
Allison Sheridan. So
is she the first? Is she the first speaker this year?
Yeah, and she's talking about podcasting.
All right.
So I'm right after talking about being creative using notes.
Okay. And Tim and I will be coming on just after lunch to do the MyMac Game Show quiz. If you were there last year, you know how zany it can be. Chances are it was zany. And everyone that we talked to won prizes because we didn't want to take any of that stuff home. So
and I won.
I know. And how is that even possible? You were a speaker.
No, you gave it to me. I
okay.
answered the question.
All right. Well, let's not get picky here. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can reach me, guy@mymac.com. I'm also MacParrot over on the Twitters. You can find my stuff at mymac.com or vertshark.com. Thank you. And if you would like to help support some of the crazy things that I do, you can do a one-time donation at coffee.com/MacParrot. That's ko-fi.com, or patreon.com/MacParrot. Either one of those would be fan-freaking-tastic. Help me pay for all the stuff that I'm doing, which includes not only the Mac to the Future livecast, but the MyMac podcast that I do nearly every single weekend with Gaz, and he's going to be out for the next 2 weeks, so I have to find some other people to do the podcast with. Hint, 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 hint. And then of course my long neglected Guys Daily Drive. I actually have some recorded that I just haven't done anything with yet because I've been busy, so busy. So I guess at this point, I would like to say thank you, not only to Dave and Warren, but to all of the wonderful people who have taken the time to download and watch and listen to the Mac to the Future live Mac to the Future Go livecast. It is greatly appreciated. So anything else you guys want to say before we leave?
No.
That's pretty much it. All right. Well, then say goodnight, Warren and Dave.
Good night,
Warren and Dave.
Yeah, there. Yeah, see, that happens all the time. Yeah.